For many fans, the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super was more than just a battle royale. It was a turning point for the entire franchise. Universe 7's warriors weren't just fighting for survival, they were participating in a narrative experiment that reshaped the way Dragon Ball approached character development, stakes, and storytelling. At first glance, the tournament seemed like a simple battle royale scenario. 10 universes, 10 warriors each, fighting to avoid erasure. But beneath the surface, it represented a fundamental shift in the series' philosophy. Previous arcs focused on individual power-ups, dramatic rivalries, and one-on-one duels. The Tournament of Power, however, demanded something different. Strategy, teamwork, adaptability, and emotional growth became just as important as raw strength. This was Dragon Ball asking, what truly makes a warrior great? Take Goku. Throughout the series, he's always been defined by his love of fighting and his desire to push beyond limits. But in the Tournament of Power, Goku's growth had to extend beyond personal strength. He had to understand teamwork, anticipate opponents' moves, and make decisions that affected not only himself but his universe. His Ultra Instinct awakening wasn't just a power-up. It was a manifestation of mental clarity, instinct, and cosmic-level awareness. It represented a new kind of evolution, one where mastery over oneself could rival mastery over raw energy. Vegeta, too, experienced one of his most profound developments in this arc. Traditionally pride-driven and competitive, the Prince of Saiyans was forced to confront his limitations, not through brute force, but through observation, patience, and cooperation. His fight with Toppo and his eventual teamwork with Goku highlighted a side of Vegeta rarely seen before, a warrior capable of humility and strategic thinking without compromising his identity. The tournament demanded that even the most independent fighters grow in ways the series had never explored. Beyond individual growth, the Tournament of Power redefined the multiverse itself. Before this arc, universes existed largely as background settings. In the tournament, each universe's fate, culture, and inhabitants gained stakes that felt personal. The erasure threat gave weight to characters and worlds previously relegated to cameos. Suddenly, the multiverse was a living, breathing ecosystem, and Dragon Ball was no longer just a story about a single Earth or universe. It became a story about survival, consequence, and interconnectedness on a cosmic scale. The angels and gods of destruction also played a critical role, highlighting the tournament's philosophical undertones. Weiss, Vados, and their counterparts didn't intervene directly, but their presence shaped outcomes in subtle ways. They weren't just bystanders. They were guardians of balance, teaching through observation and restraint. Their influence emphasized one of the tournament's key lessons. True power requires wisdom, restraint, and the ability to guide events without dominating them. Finally, the tournament challenged the audience's expectations. For decades, Dragon Ball victories were earned through sheer force or last-minute transformations. In this arc, victories could come from ingenuity, alliances, and emotional growth. Fighters like Jiren demonstrated that power alone is not enough. A warrior's philosophy, discipline, and choices matter just as much as any energy attack. The tournament elevated Dragon Ball from a simple action series into a meditation on morality, strategy, and the nature of strength itself. In the next part, we'll break down the key battles and pivotal moments that shaped the tournament's impact on the characters, the narrative, and the franchise as a whole. We'll see how each fighter's growth rippled through their universe and why the Tournament of Power remains one of the most transformative arcs in Dragon Ball history. The Tournament of Power was more than a spectacle of strength. It was a crucible that forged character growth on an unprecedented scale. Unlike previous Dragon Ball battles, the stakes were universal. The survival of entire worlds hung in the balance. Every fight became a defining moment, not just for power, but for morality, strategy, and the evolution of the fighters themselves. Take Goku versus Jiren, for instance. Jiren was a seemingly invincible opponent, embodying raw strength tempered by a stoic sense of justice. Goku's struggle against him wasn't just physical, it was philosophical. Each exchange tested Goku's limits, forcing him to confront his own understanding of strength, teamwork, and responsibility. When Goku unlocked Ultra Instinct, it wasn't merely a new form. It was the culmination of his growth under extreme pressure. He learned that surpassing limits requires not only power, but clarity, focus, and emotional equilibrium, a lesson that would resonate throughout the rest of the series. Vegeta's journey in the tournament also highlighted a subtle but profound transformation. Early on, Vegeta fought with pride as his guiding force, seeking personal victory above all else. Yet, as he faced overwhelming opponents like Toppo and Kale, he began to recognize the value of collaboration and restraint. Vegeta's sacrifices, pushing himself to the edge to protect his team, demonstrated a shift from self-centered pride to a more nuanced understanding of heroism. His pride became not a flaw, but a weapon when tempered by wisdom and loyalty. The tournament also elevated previously minor characters to new heights. Fighters like Android 17, initially dismissed as secondary, displayed ingenuity, adaptability, and leadership. His decision to conserve energy, protect his teammates, and ultimately survive when many stronger fighters fell, revealed a depth of character often overlooked in earlier arcs. The tournament showed that victory wasn't always about raw power. It was about intelligence, strategy, and perseverance. Even the antagonists were redefined. Jiren, Toppo, and Dispo weren't merely obstacles. They were mirrors reflecting the hero's weaknesses and growth. Their motivations, ethics, and struggles added layers of complexity to the battles, showing that strength alone couldn't dictate the outcome. Every clash was as much about character development as it was about energy blasts and martial skill. The tournament also reshaped the concept of teamwork in Dragon Ball. Traditionally, fights were individual-centric, with alliances being rare or situational. The survival format forced fighters to collaborate, creating tension, trust, and strategy under extreme circumstances. Moments like Goku and Frieza working together, or the coordinated attacks of Universe 7 against dominant foes, emphasized the importance of unity, a theme that had rarely been explored so deeply in the series. In essence, the Tournament of Power was a masterclass in character growth. It pushed Goku, Vegeta, and even minor fighters beyond familiar limits, challenged their philosophies, and redefined heroism in the Dragon Ball universe. The battles weren't just fights. They were transformative experiences that left lasting marks on every participant, setting a new standard for what it means to grow in strength, wisdom, and character. The Tournament of Power wasn't just about raw strength. It was a chessboard of strategy, alliances, and calculated risks. Every universe entered the arena with vastly different approaches, reflecting the philosophies of their gods of destruction, the guidance of their angels, and the strengths and weaknesses of their fighters. The battles highlighted that survival often depended more on intellect, coordination, and adaptability than on sheer power. Universe 7's success stemmed from a combination of individual brilliance and teamwork. Goku, Vegeta, and the other fighters learned to leverage each other's strengths while compensating for weaknesses. Frieza's inclusion, initially a source of tension, became a turning point in illustrating that past rivalries could be set aside for mutual survival. These moments of reluctant cooperation underscored a core theme. Adaptability and trust could determine the fate of entire universes. Other universes showcased different philosophies. Universe 11, led by Jiren, exemplified discipline and precision. Their strategic cohesion, rigorous training, and focus on collective strength made them formidable opponents. Meanwhile, Universe 2's emphasis on teamwork and charm, Universe 3's mechanical ingenuity, and Universe 6's blend of speed and versatility offered a diverse spectrum of approaches. The tournament turned combat into a narrative about contrasting ideologies, proving that power alone couldn't guarantee victory. The Angel's influence played a subtle yet crucial role in shaping these strategies. Wise and Vados, among others, quietly ensured that battles unfolded in a way that balanced opportunity with challenge. By guiding the gods of destruction and subtly advising fighters, they maintained the multiverse's delicate equilibrium. Their presence ensured that tactics mattered just as much as technique, making every decision, who to fight, when to strike, when to retreat, carry immense weight. The alliances forged and broken during the tournament also had lasting multiversal consequences. Fighters learned to evaluate opponents not just as threats, but as partners or variables in the larger game. Universe 7's dynamic, particularly the temporary cooperation with other universes during critical moments, demonstrated that adaptability and diplomacy could be just as crucial as combat skill. These interactions hinted at a broader theme. Survival in a complex multiverse often requires negotiation, compromise, and foresight. Ultimately, the Tournament of Power reshaped the Dragon Ball universe by demonstrating that strength, while essential, is incomplete without strategy, adaptability, and unity. It elevated the narrative from individual heroics to multiversal chess, where every choice could ripple across worlds. Battles were not merely displays of might. They were lessons in foresight, collaboration, and the consequences of action and inaction. The tournament proved that true growth comes not only from overcoming enemies, but from navigating challenges that test every facet of one's character. The Tournament of Power left an indelible mark on the Dragon Ball multiverse, reshaping characters, philosophies, and the very understanding of power itself. Its influence extended far beyond the immediate battles, affecting the evolution of mortals, gods, and even the structure of universes. For Goku and Vegeta, the tournament was transformative. They not only faced opponents of unparalleled strength, but also encountered ideologies and strategies that challenged their previous notions of combat. Goku's growth into Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta's evolution in both strength and tactical awareness, were direct results of the high-stakes environment that the tournament created. The battles forced them to transcend individual prowess, emphasizing awareness, adaptability, and instinct as essential components of true strength. The tournament also reshaped relationships. Rivalries like Goku and Frieza's took on new dimensions, as mutual survival necessitated temporary alliances. Bonds formed under extreme pressure created a network of respect and understanding across universes. Even brief interactions with fighters like Jiren, Toppo, and Kale left lasting impressions, influencing decisions and outlooks in ways that would echo in later arcs. At the divine level, the tournament revealed vulnerabilities and potentials in the gods of destruction. Beerus's impulsiveness contrasted sharply with Whis' calm foresight, showcasing how divine guidance is as vital as raw power. The angel's subtle interventions proved that wisdom, patience, and restraint could shape outcomes more effectively than brute force. The multiverse itself became a more interconnected system, where the consequences of one universe's actions resonated across others, highlighting the intricate balance the angels maintain. Beyond individual growth, the tournament shifted the narrative framework of Dragon Ball. It transformed the series from a focus on escalating battles to a study of strategy, cooperation, and moral choices. The concept of power evolved. It was no longer enough to be the strongest fighter. One had to be aware, adaptable, and capable of making split-second decisions under extreme pressure. The tournament also expanded the storytelling canvas, giving audiences insight into the vast multiverse and the diverse philosophies, strengths, and challenges of its inhabitants. Finally, the Tournament of Power redefined what it meant to protect a universe. Survival required more than strength. It required judgment, collaboration, and vision. The legacy of the tournament is evident in every subsequent Dragon Ball storyline. Heroes act with greater awareness, alliances carry more weight, and the multiverse remains a complex system where every choice, big or small, can ripple outward. In the end, the Tournament of Power changed Dragon Ball forever, not by crowning a single victor, but by elevating the stakes, enriching character development, and redefining the very meaning of strength. It proved that true heroism is measured not just by power, but by strategy, insight, and the courage to face challenges that stretch far beyond personal limits.